cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari. When I'm in that kitchen with precision, mix, this is all one division of this hot taste of tradition. Food network, I leave you to see the recipe is simple. Now you cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari. Cooking with Sakari.
What's going on, everyone? So for this week, it's all about the summer tomatoes. Sweet, fresh, juicy, delicious, right from the garden. We're gonna make a nice seafood pasta to go along with it. And it's gonna be simple, delicious, none of that jar, canned stuff. It's gonna be great. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Alright everyone, so we have all our ingredients here. We're going to be making a nice seafood tomato pasta, okay? So we have some fresh spaghetti here. You're more than welcome to use box spaghetti if you like. It's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take about like 8 minutes or so. Just make sure when you're cooking with it that it's al dente, meaning until the tube has a nice texture to it, okay? This pasta is fresh, but you can get fresh pasta from anywhere. In the supermarket or something like that. This is going to take a lot quicker to cook. It's going to take like a minute or two. So just be aware of your box instructions and figuring out how to cook your pasta. We have some crayfish here. Okay, you can use any type of shellfish if you like. You can use seafood or whatever you like. There was just some crayfish that's cleaned here and already cooked. We have some rosemary, okay, basil, and some fresh tomatoes from the garden. We also have some canned tomatoes, which is going to be the base for our sauce. We have some seafood stock, so you can buy seafood stock from the store, or you can take the shells of whatever clean seafood that you have and put some vegetables in there, add some water, cook that down, and that can be your stock, and that's going to be a nice, beautiful base. We have some white wine here, some olive oil, lemon, and just some cubed up butter. And we also have some garlic slices. So people think that you usually want to chop your garlic, but whenever I like to cook pastas, I always like to slice the garlic. It has a much higher surface area, and it gets nice golden brown without burning. Okay, and I just have it sitting in olive oil. And the longer that it's sitting, the more flavor that you're building. So it's really nice. And yeah, that's it. So let's get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to get everything started cooking. Alright, let's cook it up. So we're going to get our heat going. Okay. We're going to get our pasta water going. So we have a pot of water here. And there's no salt in the water just yet. There's going to be no salt in the water just yet. We're going to wait till it gets to boil. We're going to wait till our pan gets hot. And then we're going to start adding our ingredients, get our sauce going, okay? So our first ingredient that I like to add is going to be the garlic, okay? We're going to make sure this gets nice and toasted in there. And add to the pan, sweat it out, and get it nice and started. So we just have a sliced garlic here and olive oil. For me, I always like to use olive oil whenever I'm cooking pastas. Okay. Gonna give it a second or two right here to get hot, and we're gonna get our water going as well. I don't like to salt the water in the beginning because the longer it goes, the more salty it gets. So I like to salt it right before I add my pasta as well. So we give this a second or two just to get nice and hot. want that sizzle, right? You want to hear that sizzle. Okay. I like to use a lot of oil, a little bit more oil than you think you would need, just to get a nice base for a sauce. Okay. And what I like to do is when I add our garlic here, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Just a touch. And this is going to help it from burning as well. Because what the salt does is take the moisture out and it's going to sweat it up a little bit. So it's going to take a little bit longer for it to get brown. It's going to help you to not burn your garlic. Okay, so we have our toasted spices, right? Our garlic, olive oil right here, okay? And now we start to see it getting very, very close. And we're gonna add our white wine, okay? Now, whenever you like to deglaze, you want to deglaze off the heat, okay? Just give it a second or two. Okay. Once we deglaze, that stops everything. And now we're just concentrating all the garlic, all the olive oil, all those flavors in there a little bit more, okay? And you can start to see this could be a sauce for pasta itself right here. White wine, garlic, olive oil, you got some pasta water, your pasta, parsley, you got aglio olio. And you're already done. Beautiful sauce already, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce this down. I'm gonna add our seafood stock here, okay? About a quarter cup of seafood stock. About 1 can of tomatoes here. Now I always like to use the plum tomatoes. I don't like to use the crushed up sauce. I like the nice chunky sauce for it. And we're gonna add our rosemary, okay? Rosemary is gonna add a nice flavor to this, okay? I'm just gonna cook that down, okay? Also, I have some stems of basil. I'm gonna add that in there as well. And we're just gonna remove the rosemary, remove the basil before we serve the actual sauce, okay? So we're gonna add that in there, okay? So we're gonna cook this down for about 10 to 15 minutes or so. We wanna get a nice, thick, together sauce, beautiful sauce. And then we'll remove those herbs, okay? So we just have that cooking down for a little bit. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but you should have to smell it and it smells delicious. You know, for me, one of my favorite things to eat is pasta. It's super fast, super quick, and you know, I mean, you can make it healthy. You know, you can have whole wheat pasta if you like or something like that. You know, pasta is one of those things that I kind of grew up on. You know, I grew up on American Italian food, but it wasn't until I really got to Maria, and I spent about two years of my career at Maria, and I really started to find myself really love Italian cuisine, and just how simple it is, but how delicious it really is. It focuses on fresh ingredients and it's just amazing. You know, working with Chef Michael White was probably one, you know, great time in my career. Fresh pastas every single day. We used to make our sauces all the time, and it was a really fun time for me. Coming right out of college, working at a 2-star restaurant in New York City, coming from Long Island, you know what I mean? Just being in the city life and just kind of like seeing everything. I mean, it was a really, really, really fun time. I had some really great memories there. And this is homage to that. And it just shows how simple food can be, but still it can be really delicious. So it's really fun. So while our sauce is stewing down, okay, and you want it to kind of concentrate, so you really want it to be nice and thick, because when we add our pasta water, when we add our butter, and anything else, it's gonna loosen up a little bit, okay? So you want this to be like concentrated, like a good stewed, beautiful sauce. But in the meantime, we're gonna season our fresh, beautiful summer tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of my favorite ingredients to use, especially during the summertime. They taste like candy, like super sweet, right from the garden, like beautiful, okay? And then we're just gonna season it with olive oil, salt, a little bit of pepper. And we're gonna do the same thing with the crayfish, okay? So if you don't have crayfish, you can use shrimp, you can use whatever you like. Any type of seafood, crab goes really great with this, okay? And we're just gonna season it and we're gonna add it at the last minute, okay? For when we have our pasta. So there's olive oil, take our tomatoes here, olive oil, some salt, okay? Whenever you're seasoning, season from up high, okay? Because you want it to kind of fall down just like snow, all right? And pepper, okay? So our sauce, if you see it, it's becoming nice and thick, and that's what we're looking for, okay? And what I did was I just took the plum tomatoes and I kind of just chopped it up a little bit with my spoon, okay? We have these herbs in here. We're just gonna take these herbs out. Okay, it's not gonna be super pleasant to eat, but it's gonna have a nice aroma in there, a nice flavor in there, okay? So we're gonna take the herbs out, okay? And we're also gonna get to the taste. So far, this has no salt in it just yet, okay? Tastes like tomato. Really concentrated, but you can taste the spices in it, you can taste the garlic, and even a little bit of the basil flavor. For me, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna be careful with our salt because remember our pasta water is gonna have a lot of salt in it. So we're gonna be careful with how much salt we add to this, but the flavor is good for me, and we're just gonna build off that. That's the beginning, and we're gonna build. Alright, so now that we have our stewed sauce on the side here, okay, just kind of marinate, get all those flavors on the side. We have our crayfish seasoned, our tomato seasoned. It's really important that you season everything kind of along the way because it's going to make a nice end product, okay? We have our pasta water right now, just getting nice and hot. And always, one of the most important things is first of all, the pasta will always taste it, okay? It needs to taste like the sea, all right? And this is what you're cooking your pasta in. The salt's gonna cook inside the pasta, and that's gonna add nice flavor to your food. Okay, so I'm just gonna taste the pasta water. Added about a half cup of salt here, and it still needs some more salt. Okay, it needs to taste like seawater, like salt, it's like salty seawater. Okay. And I'm gonna use the same spoon just because this food is for me. I'm gonna be eating this, so you know. Now we're coming in. So I added the pasta to the water, okay? And it literally takes a couple seconds or so. And I'm not gonna use a colander or anything like that because we want that pasta water to go inside there, okay? So I'm just gonna taste a piece of the noodle, okay? And it's already cooked. It's been about 30 seconds or so. And it still has a nice bite to it, and that's what you're looking for, okay? So you're just gonna take the tongs or your utensils or whatever you have, okay? You're gonna take it right from the pasta water and right into your sauce, okay? One of the most important things, what a lot of people don't know, is that when you're cooking pasta, besides using the pasta water itself, it's a key ingredient, right? It's like liquid gold as Italians, you know? But you really want to cook in the sauce that you're using, okay? That's really important as well. Cooking inside the sauce, and what that does is it releases the starch from the pasta and it binds the sauce itself, okay? So if you cook your pasta too long and you just toss in the sauce and that's it, it's not going to be a nice together, beautiful sauce, okay? What you want to do is you want to cook it a little bit under in your salted water, okay? And then cook it inside your actual sauce. It's going to add more flavor. It's going to be a nice, beautiful balanced sauce, and it's going to be great, okay? So make sure we save this pasta water, okay? I added my pasta here, and now we're just going to cook it for about a minute or so in our actual sauce, okay? So we're cooking our pasta, and it looks dry, and that's what you want. Okay. The reason why you want to dry this stage is because now we can add other liquids to it to kind of create the sauce that we're looking for. Okay. So I'm just gonna stir it around. Okay. And I'm gonna add our some of our pasta water. Okay. Maybe like a quarter cup of pasta water. And the pasta water has starch, okay? So that's gonna help bind the sauce as well. So you have starch from the pasta, you have starch from the pasta water, okay? And that's gonna help create the sauce that you're looking for, okay? I'm gonna add a little bit of seafood stock just to balance out the saltiness from the pasta water. And now we can add our, once we start to cook that, we're gonna add our fresh tomatoes, and we're gonna add our fresh shrimp here, or crayfish, shellfish if you like, just in about 1 second or two, okay? What you're looking for is the sauce to kind of come together, okay? So if you see it right now, it still looks a little dry, still looks a little dry. I'm gonna add some more pasta water just to kind of cover the noodle. So you have a nice, beautiful, fresh, chunky sauce. Okay. Just kind of stirring it a little bit, helping release the starch from the pasta a little bit. Okay. I see it started tightening a little bit, So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our tomatoes now. Beautiful fresh tomatoes. Okay. Kind of give that a nice toss. Okay. And our seafood, I like to add it last second. The reason why is because you want it to be nice and like kind of melt in your mouth. Even if you're using like raw shrimp or something like that, I always like to add it at the last second. Okay. So I'm watching my sauce. Okay, I'm watching my sauce. I'm looking at it. See it start to tighten, kind of come together, tossing it. Has a nice, fresh, beautiful tomato that you just want to cook like ever so slightly, okay? But the more you toss it, you kind of start to see the sauce kind of come together. I'm gonna add our butter now. Okay, give it like 30 more seconds or so. And whenever you add your fat, you want to add your fat off the heat, okay? That's going to help emulsify it. So I have maybe like about half a stick of butter, okay? We're going to add our shrimps, olive oil, okay? Fresh squeezed lemon juice for acidity. Now the tomatoes have acidity as well, but I like the extra punch that the tomato juice got with it, okay? And now off the heat, okay? You have your beautiful sauce, and you're just gonna want to stir and kind of just emulsify everything together, kind of get everything nice, beautiful. Toss it, okay? And the more you toss it, you'll start to see the sauce will come together. Now you have a nice, beautiful sauce, okay? And you just want to keep tossing it. And now that's it. You have a beautiful sauce that's nice together. The last thing that I add is chiffonade basil, okay? I like to chiffonade. What does chiffonade mean? Chiffonade means just kind of cutting it into like thin strips. But with basil specifically, I never like to cut it super thin like a traditional chiffonade. I like to cut it fat because what happens with basil is that it gets really black super fast. So I like to keep the basil whole or chiffonade in fat pieces like this, okay? And that's it. Delicious, beautiful sauce. Okay? We're gonna finish it also with a little bit of, have your microplane, your cheese grater, whatever you have, and we're gonna have the zest, okay? Now you can take the zest and create an oil with it as well. And you kind of just take the zest, keep it in oil, flavor the oil, and that adds a nice flavor as well. And that's it. Beautiful, simple, easy, fresh, and delicious. We'll give it a taste, last taste for seasoning. See if there's anything. I'm gonna add touch salt, touch pepper, and that's it. Delicious. Fast, fresh, delicious, easy. Let's plate it up. Alright guys, so I'm gonna give it a taste. We have our fresh pasta here, fresh summer tomatoes, our crayfish. Alright, I'm super excited. Anyways. The sauce is nice. The tomatoes are nice and fresh. The lemon zest in there adds a nice flavor. I mean, the seafood's like tender. Really, really good. Alright, I'm gonna finish this. We'll catch you next time on Cooking with Sakari.
Simply cooking with Sakari.
This was Simply Cooking with Sakari. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.